I did it. Mwah!
I have finally finished the story of my game, and I have to be honest, it feels surreal. It's one of those things I knew would happen eventually, but now that it's here, I feel like I'm in the position of...
Now what?
In the end, the story has 9 endings, 2 of which can brick the save file, just to really drive home the feeling of...
You fucked up.
Technically speaking, there's 11, but the extra 2 are just slight variations depending on who you chose to romance. And yes, you heard me right, there are romance options, that being the Kyoshi warrior companion Kana and either Haruka or Talos, depending on who you chose to be the avatar. Yes, Kana is romanceable by both of them, and I have admittedly gone back and forth on removing the option for Haruka because when I initially wrote the story, I had a mental list of things to do to avoid the usual baseless accusations if the story ever took off. Suffice to say, that never really happened. But the main 2 were make the avatar a lady to avoid the "you hate women" accusation, and have her get with another lady to avoid the homophobe accusations. Nothing like a little bit of girl on girl, girl on girl, girl on girl. Yeah, that was definitely the reason. Nowadays, I'm not fussed by it, and the main reason I'm reconsidering including it is because everyone and their grandmother are sick to death of gay relationships in games, movies, and TV shows. And I can't blame them. It's been getting shoved down people's throats for a while now. But since I want to give people choices in this game and not just force them down one path, removing the option would be going against that. So yeah, I'm kind of conflicted about the whole thing. I've also managed to add in difficulty levels to spice things up or turn things down. And of course, with the avatar difficulty being as hard as I think it might be, I haven't actually tested it as of writing this script, I've included a New Game Plus option. Now for the story. This game takes place 65 years after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yes boys, we're erasing Korra with this one. With the White Lotus searching for the Avatar due to a premonition Aang made before his passing, and having searched the Southern Water Tribe and the Foggy Swamp Tribe, their investigation inevitably leads them to the north, where they eventually meet Haruka, a golden-hearted battle lover with more air in her head than brains, and Talos, a prideful prince of the north who's let his perceived status as the Avatar go to his head. I am now just realizing I basically just wrote Goku and Vegeta.
Before we go any further, I'd just like to say one thing.
Whoever you don't choose to be the Avatar will go down a different path. Talos, feeling he's had his identity stripped away from him, runs away from his home and goes on his own Avatar journey, actively seeking out masters to train him in the ways of the 4 elements. Initially hoping to deceive them into thinking he is the Avatar, but going about it can eventually land him in hot water. Whereas Haruka, who had no lofty ideas of being the Avatar, comes to the conclusion that once Talos comes back from his training, she's not going to be able to keep up with him anymore, and so asks to leave home in order to train in the ways of the other elements, in order to keep up with him. But the rivals' journey inevitably leads them to the Spirit of Chaos Raava, a being with a vendetta against the Avatar and plans to use the rival character in order to exact her revenge. Meanwhile, the Avatar trains in the ways of the 4 elements, with the masters you choose, since even though the White Lotus has come to collect them, you can elude them and train with the masters chosen by the Northern Chief instead. Regardless of who you pick though, the Avatar eventually ends up in Sanhei. I really hope I am pronouncing that right. The capital city formed after the 100-Year War off the back of the oldest Fire Nation colonies. But conflict is boiling in the city between 2 Yakuza factions, the Zu family, led by the patriarch Zu, don't forget, and the Yamato clan, led by a masked man known as Aislinn, the would-be saviour of the city from the tyrannical Zu family. But all is not as it seems, and the Avatar's arrival feels like an omen that the conflict will soon boil over. That is a synopsis of how the story initially starts. I don't want to reveal too much here for obvious reasons, and yes, I mentioned Raava, which means there's Vaatu. But don't fret. The only similarity these two have to the kites are their names. There's no harmonic convergence, no 10,000 year time frame. They actually represent the correct sides of yin and yang. The Avatar isn't a spirit-human fusion, and there's no bloody portals! Art for the game is still being made. As of now, 29 are done, 10 are in production, and meaning there are still 48 left to go. I swear the number of enemy pictures I need keeps going up every time I count them. If I didn't know any better, I'd think Nando was somehow dropping new enemies into my folder. Of course, I'm going to need to get some battle backgrounds commissioned, as most of the ones in the base engine don't really represent where the fights are taking place all that well. It comes across as the player and enemy getting transported to a different area entirely when the battle starts, although I don't think I will need all that many. And there are also a few art pieces I need to commission for scenes that I couldn't represent very well in the engine itself. There's only a few that I need, so it shouldn't be too much extra work. And the music is mostly finished. And I'll be upfront about it, I have used AI to create a lot of the songs. I'm sorry, but if I want the game releasing before the heat death of the universe, I'm gonna have to cut some corners. I'm one man with the only funding being my wages. I can't say the AI is bad, but getting it to make a good sounding song feels like trying to get blood out of a stone. Think of it like a stingy gacha game. You'll wade through the generic and the utterly awful, but if you're lucky, you'll get something that actually sounds good. However, I'm going to have to commission some songs because there are at least 5 right now that the AI just cannot seem to wrap its head around. That's why it's like, I want something that sounds like this. And it just can't do it. I don't know why. I don't know what's so hard. It's like I want a song that sounds like this. And it just can't seem to do it. It always either sounds crap, or it sounds generic, or it doesn't even sound like what I wanted. At first I thought I had more hits than misses, but then I remember how many songs I deleted, and it's like, no, I've had more misses than hits. I do wish I could commission an actual musician, but man, the game would be releasing in like 3 years' time at that rate. That's all I have to update at the moment. Let me know what you think, and please don't crucify me over the AI music.